If we sit down to talk about classic Naruto, we will always fall into that same joke, the famous talk no jutsu, right? We get tired of seeing memes of Naruto beating the villains with an intensive therapy session right in the middle of a punch, always pulling the guy to the light because he understands the enemy's pain. But I was thinking about a really bizarre thing recently. What if Naruto was just completely emotionally armored? What if he simply did not care about absolutely anything or anyone else? A kid who doesn't want to be Hokage, doesn't want village approval, and just wants the mission money to go back home and get some sleep. The result of this isn't just a much darker anime, it is the proof that the world without this empathy from Naruto would be the most dystopian and cruel universe in anime. And I am going to show you step by step how this would destroy the story that we already know. It starts back at the Ninja Academy, everybody treating the kid just like trash, like a monster. Well, in the original he yelled, painted monuments, wanted attention. This apathetic Naruto, he does not care about the village. The kids mock him at school, and he just stays looking with a blank face. To him, that whole crowd is a bunch of emotional people making drama over very little things. This completely changes the exact way he fights. You know that Naruto, who screamed, went in without thinking? Forget about that guy. Since he has no emotional baggage weighing heavy on his mind, he fights with a terrifying coldness. He looks at the opponent, finds the weak spot, punches the ribs, taking the guy's air out, and it's over, you know? Pure, absolute efficiency. He doesn't want to prove he is strong, he wants to end the mess quickly. When Kakashi puts Team 7 together, the whole vibe is unbearable. Sasuke in that dark, edgy Avenger vibe, Sakura existing only to kiss Sasuke's ass honestly, and Naruto just looking right at all of that, thinking everybody there is entirely pathetic. Kakashi even tries to start a chat, thinking Naruto is repressing some pain, but Naruto drops the hard truth right from the start. There is absolutely nothing wrong with me, man. I just do not care about you guys, alright? I just do my job, get my payment, and that's it, boom. And bro, in the Land of Waves mission is when we see the monster he has become. You know that classic scene of Inari crying for Kaisa? Naruto turns to the kid and drops a, "Nobody cares. The world does not revolve right around you. Stop crying and go play outside, you know?" Sakura almost has a freaking stroke, but he doesn't even care. He makes it completely clear he's a mercenary, not a babysitter. And in the fight against Haku, then Haku starts to tell that sad story of his tragic past. Naruto interrupts and drops this, "I was only buying some time. I do not care about your story." And lets Kakashi pierce straight through the kid's heart, you know? Cold as absolute hell. But the real peak of the mission is with Gato. Gato, who takes Inari's mother as a hostage to blackmail the whole team, Naruto does a very quick calculation in his own head. If he backs down, Gato will stay alive. The bridge doesn't finish, and the entire village suffers. If he attacks, the hostages die, but Gato dies too, and the rest of the village becomes free. He does not think twice. He pushes forward, sacrifices the hostages, and shreds Gato and his entire army using his very own army of shadow clones. Tazuna beats the hell out of Naruto afterwards, crying for his dead daughter. And Naruto just wipes the blood off his face and says, "I did my job, now pay me." Bro, the kid became a total ninja John Wick, you know? Then we finally get to the Chunin exams, which is where the script takes a very crazy turn. The Forest of Death, all that crap. Naruto stops in the bushes to take a quick pee. When he gets right back, Sasuke and Sakura were totally gone. They basically left him behind during a moment of high tension. Anyone else would get sad and try to find their friends. But not Naruto. He gets super pissed at their stupidity, says, "Screw this," hunts another team and that's it. Steals the scroll alone and passes the exam going solo. When Kakashi comes lecturing that those who abandon their friends are worse than trash, Naruto fires right back in the same coin. "Go and tell that to your little pet students. They ditched me just for using the bathroom. I simply followed the main mission." And because of all of this efficiency, know who sets their eyes on the kid? Yes, him indeed, the old red fox of Konoha, Danzo Shimura. While Kakashi is drooling all over Sasuke, Danzo takes Naruto in to raise him, you know? And right here, the story becomes The Godfather. Danzo does not arrive manipulating Naruto with cheap little lies, he plays it real with him. He tells him that Minato is Naruto's actual father, and that the third Hokage hid this just so he wouldn't lose his power. Naruto understands the deep politics of it all, and Danzo teaches a very heavy philosophy to him. He says that every human being is a slave to something, and that true liberty is knowing how to manipulate the others, and accepting this to just gain an advantage. Naruto gets that Danzo is basically buying his loyalty with luxury, money, and privileges in the root, but he accepts it because it is exactly what he wants, you know? A truly comfortable life with no drama, he becomes Danzo's right-hand man, teams up with Sai, and starts to focus entirely on mastering his own immense strength. In the Sand Village invasion, Naruto totally crushes Gaara using pure logic. He fries the Shukaku's sand using the Kyuubi's raw energy until the sand turns into glass. Then he climbs onto Gaara and chops his head right off without blinking. The huge threat is over, but here comes the most brutal butterfly effect of this timeline. Sasuke finally decides to flee the village. Sakura comes crying loudly, asking for Naruto to go after him. Naruto then drops the real truth. The guy went away because he wanted to. There is a whole bunch of renegade ninjas out there. Why exactly is he so freaking special? If he dies by the hands of Orochimaru, that is his own problem, you know? He turns his back and Sakura leaves completely desperate. They try going as a team after Sasuke and the whole result is disastrous. Shikamaru dies, Choji dies, Kiba dies, and Sakura is brutally impaled straight through by Kimimaro. Yes, Sakura actually dies in the classic era. The blame falls heavily all on the back of Kakashi's leadership, who becomes emotionally broken. Remembering poor Rin, Team 7 completely ends for good right there. As the long years go by, Naruto becomes the absolute boss of Root. He trains like a total sickman. Discovers he has a strong affinity for wind style, learns a million jutsus, turns into a true monster with the blade. And when they finally track down Orochimaru's secret base, the whole reunion has absolutely no nostalgia. They loudly invade the place, just wiping out every single person there. Naruto then comes face to face with Sasuke sleeping and instantly tries to stick a knife right into his chest. Man, Sasuke wakes up right away and the brutal fight begins. Except that Sasuke was way too overpowered then. He kills Sai in a single blink. Sasuke then completely rips Naruto's arm off and pierces his chest with a sword and leaves the guy there bleeding to death and just walks away. It was a total massacre, but Naruto is the jinchuriki of the fox, right? The healing factor keeps him alive in the rubble for days until the Anbu finds the guy. And right here is where things get truly broken for good. Danzo takes Naruto, brings him to the lab, and puts an arm with Hashirama's broken cells on him. Just imagine that now. Naruto in Sage mode now dropping the wood style just like Yamato did, except so much stronger overall. The brutal humiliation he took from Sasuke makes him swallow any ego and train double the time. And the grand result of this we see clearly in the Pain arc. When Pain directly attacks Konoha, there is absolutely no speech about the cycle of hatred. Naruto jumps straight into the Deva path fighting, side by side with Kakashi. Pain just cannot deal with the raw pressure of the wood style, entirely blocking all of his attacks. They then easily solo Pain, they murder Nagato right in the paper tree, and Danzo steals the Rinnegan for the root stocks. Simple and totally dry. Danzo's morale shoots straight through the roof, and he officially becomes the very famous 6th Hokage. And then we finally reach the big meeting of the 5 Kages. Danzo takes Naruto as his personal bodyguard. When Ao from the Water Nation discovers and curses out Danzo's arm, the tension rises. But Naruto steps in front of the table and gives the biggest scolding in anime history to those Kages. He points his finger in the Raikage's face and remembers that they tried to kidnap Hinata 2 times. Screams at the sand, remembering that they murdered Hiruzen, humiliates the mist, loudly calling them huge hypocrites. He basically just says, "You guys are a bunch of incompetents. We are the only village that solves problems, and if you slip, Konoha solos you four together. The dead silence inside the room is completely deafening. And just to prove his solid argument, Sasuke invades the meeting. Naruto steps right down to deal with the annoying problem personally. There's no Sasuke, come back to the village. Sasuke turns on the Susanoo, and Naruto immediately summons the giant wooden golem. He just crushes the Susanoo with punches, sets the clones to massacre Sasuke, and kills him right there on the cold floor in front of everybody. His ultimate winning trophy, Sasuke's very own Sharingan. He rips the eye from his ex-friend and implants it in himself. What actually happens next borders on the absurd of being overpowered. Sasuke's dark chakra ends up mixing with the Hashirama cells that were already inside of Naruto. And just weeks later, boom, Naruto's Sharingan naturally evolved into the Rinnegan, keeping the Tomos. The crazy kid became a literal god walking on Earth. In the Big Ninja War, he is Kabuto's absolute worst nightmare. Know the Edo Tensei? Naruto simply uses the Rinnegan to rip out the zombies' souls and just cancel the jutsu. There isn't even a proper fight, you know? He and Kakashi completely crush Obito using the deadly Kamui. And with the end of the war, Konoha doesn't divide the bijous. Danzo takes all of the tailed beasts to the leaf, and Konoha becomes the empire. They strongly monopolize the military power of the entire planet. Years later, Danzo dies of old age, and guess exactly who sits in the chair to command the shadows? It's Naruto. He keeps the exact status quo that Danzo originally taught. He creates total world peace on the firm basis of control. It's not a peace just because the people love each other. It is a peace because Naruto controls when and where small wars will happen, just to keep the village's economy running and all the ninjas occupied. They became the very gears of the system. He chooses who lives, who dies, and exactly who makes money. Everything in the most cold and calculatingly armed peace. And it's crazy to stop and think about it. Kishimoto created a world so rotten and so heavily militarized that the only single thing stopping the whole thing from becoming a total nightmare was precisely Naruto's annoying behavior. Without the typical protagonist speech, without the forgiveness, without the deep empathy, Naruto would not be an anti-hero. He would be the absolute worst dictator the ninja world ever saw. His huge heart literally saved that entire universe, and seeing him act just like a killing machine proves that the talk no jutsu was never a real defect of the show. It was the only way out that made sense. But you tell me down in the comments, this theory was kinda crazy, right? But I really want to know from you guys. Alright? Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and give it some hype, my dear friend, because that helps too much. Thanks, take care, and until the very next video,